One of the main reasons people buy vintage sewing machines is for nostalgia. But is there any advantage of buying a vintage sewing machine over a modern one? Well, let's find out. For this exercise, I'm going to consider any domestic sewing machine made before the mid-1960s as vintage, and any domestic sewing machine that can be bought new today as modern. Cost. This is a simple one. Modern sewing machines can be bought new from as little as £75 for a basic model. This can rise to well over £800 for an all singing and dancing machine. For a mid-range machine, expect to pay around £250. Vintage sewing machine prices vary tremendously, depending on where you are and on which model. Here in the UK, a Singer 99 can cost as little as £25, whereas a 221 featherweight is going to be in the region of £250. A good vintage sewing machine in full working order is likely to be around £80 to £100. Running costs. Modern electric sewing machines is likely to have a slight advantage in efficiency over vintage machines. Modern machines usually come with a lower powered motor and an LED light. However, the main advantage of the LED light over incandescent lamps is that they are cool to the touch. An incandescent bulb can get very hot and prove uncomfortable when they're so close to your hands. Of course, if a vintage sewing machine is in a treadle table or hand cranked, then there's no power usage and therefore no cost. Which brings me to maintenance and repairs. Modern machines are said to be maintenance free. Well, this is not strictly true. While there are no user serviceable parts inside a modern machine, it is recommended that they are professionally serviced every 1 to 2 years, which costs from around £45 upwards. The only maintenance required by the user is to clear any fluff or lint from the bobbin area. Repairs of modern machines can be expensive, as little can be repaired or replaced by the user. Plastic gears wear down and can break, and electronic circuit boards can go faulty. In contrast, vintage sewing machines were designed to be serviced and repaired by the user. Aside from cleaning out lint from the bobbin area, a vintage sewing machine will need regular oiling. It's recommended that a machine is oiled around every 8 hours of use. Oiling is simple, usually just 1 or maybe 2 drops of oil at the points indicated in the user manual. Sewing machine oil is cheap and lasts a long time when you're only using 1 or 2 drops at a time. The only parts that really wear are the drive belts and the bobbin winding tyres. Both are readily available and inexpensive. All moving parts are made of metal and are well engineered, meaning that they will last a lifetime and then some. Parts are relatively easy to come by for most models, and there are specialists around that will stock these. If all else fails, you can always buy a parts machine. Build quality. When sewing machines became popular in the early 20th century, they were incredibly well engineered. They were also very expensive, often costing several months' wages, and so would have been out of reach for most people. Singer came up with the idea of hire purchase, so people could buy a machine and pay it off weekly over a period of time. Often, a woman would purchase a sewing machine and take in paid sewing jobs from neighbours. This would help pay for the machine. This system worked well and is probably why Singer became one of the largest and most well-known brands of sewing machines. These machines would have to be built to last, easily maintained by the user, and produce a high-quality stitch. After World War II, there was an influx of cheaper sewing machines coming in from the Far East. This meant that Singer and other established manufacturers had to compete by adding new features and lowering manufacturing costs, resulting in cost-cutting measures and a lowering of build quality. Like all modern appliances, modern machines are now regarded as consumables, built to a price point and often with built-in obsolescence. They contain cheap plastic parts and electronics that are prone to failure. Parts availability. Again, as with most modern appliances, parts for sewing machines are often no longer available once they get to around 5 years old or so. If they are available, it's usually not cost effective to have the machine repaired. It's often cheaper to replace the machine with the latest model. As previously mentioned, vintage machines rarely wear out and parts are available at a reasonable price through specialists. Stitch quality. It could be said that vintage sewing machines were over-engineered, and this resulted in a high-quality stitch. Few modern machines can produce the stitch quality of a Singer 201 or 221 featherweight. Vintage machines were designed to sew through a wide variety of fabrics, with the appropriate needle and thread of course. Modern machines can struggle with the lightest and heaviest fabrics. You'll often see a vintage sewing machine advertised as semi-industrial due to their ability to sew through heavy fabrics. There is no such thing as a semi-industrial sewing machine, and while vintage sewing machines will handle heavier fabrics from time to time, if you're looking for a machine to regularly sew heavy fabrics, choose an industrial machine. Longevity. With its simple but quality engineering, a 100-year-old sewing machine will, with regular use and maintenance, sew as good as the day it was made. Modern machines, built to a cost with lower quality and cheaper materials, have a usable life expectancy of around 10 years. They have the built-in obsolescence and are not expected to last like a vintage all-metal sewing machine. It's a simple fact of economics. If a modern machine was built to the same standard as one made 60 years ago, they would be as expensive as a modern industrial machine. We also live in an upgrade culture, where people want a machine with all the latest features that their last machine did not have, whether these features have any real use or not. Which leads me to features. This, it may seem, is where modern machines have the main advantage. Vintage sewing machines were often straight stitch only, with some later machines having the ability to create zigzag stitch, and some, in the 50s and 60s, decorative stitches, utilising pattern discs or cams. Modern machines usually have a wide variety of built-in stitches. This is often a selling point. The more built-in stitches, the more desirable the sewing machine. But wait, how many of these decorative stitches do you really use? 99.9% of the time, people only use a straight stitch, with the zigzag stitch only being used occasionally. Most people will test out the decorative stitches on a scrap piece of fabric and then not even consider them again. There are accessories available for vintage straight stitch machines to enable them to do a zigzag stitch or even create buttonholes. If you must have decorative or embroidery stitches, the Neki Supernova or Singer 306 have cams or pattern discs that can create a huge variety of decorative stitches. The Singer 319 and 401 have built-in patterns operated by levers or dials. Okay, you have to change out cams rather than just pushing a button, but for the amount of time they are used, it's not really such a hardship. There are even accessories available that can create monograms. Weight and portability. This is where modern machines have the advantage. Vintage sewing machines weigh double or more than a modern machine. 3/4 size machines such as the Singer 99 were advertised as portable, but you certainly would not want to carry one for far. The Singer Featherweight is a true portable. This small but perfectly formed aluminium-bodied machine weighs around the same as a modern sewing machine, and offers a stitch quality to rival the Singer 201. This, complete with its compact carry case, makes it one of the most sought-after vintage sewing machines, and one of the most expensive. There are other small portable sewing machines, such as the Elna Grasshopper, but these can be hard to come by. Green credentials. There's no arguing that a vintage sewing machine had a huge carbon footprint when being produced. The cast iron bodies were forged in huge furnaces, and the whole production process would have been driven by coal. That said, these machines were produced over 60 years ago, and that was the norm for those times. If these machines were human-powered, treadle or hand-cranked, then they're as green can be. However, modern machines make use of plastics and electronic circuit boards and are all, with a minority of exceptions, driven by electricity. Their planned obsolescence means they will have to be disposed of in the near future. Given that the vintage sewing machine would last 5 or more times as long as a modern plastic machine, I would think that the vintage machine is more environmentally friendly in the long run. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to be notified of all my future uploads. Thanks for watching.